Hi, I'm Irving, and I'm an Adamaniac. When the opening theme rolled, we were shocked to see that the title of the show had been changed to Robin the Boy Wonder. After that, the program degenerated into nothing but a series of pratfalls and slapstick, basically a comedy of errors featuring the superhero who excels at losing to the bad guys. Holy over my head, Batman!
Don't work yourself into a flap, Spunky. He's drowned. Not even brat-to-bat resuscitation can help him now.
We do have some nice turns of phrase. Of course, when you have Victor Buono, you turn the quality up a notch if you ever want to have him back.
Now I must get back to the throne room and see if my adored Cleopatra has changed her mind in the dungeon.
I still don't see what that dame has that I don't.
Well, whatever it is, she's had it centuries longer than you.
And when you're Victor Buono, you can throw a little W.C. Fields into the mix if you bloomin' well want to.
More stat code? Good heavens.
I don't know if you can see the smaller print on that sign. It says for bat emergencies only, like when he really has to go to the bathroom.
You're in big trouble, King Tut. Kidnapping, murder, grand theft, and malicious mischief.
You're a party pooper, Cleo! Yeah. Now you see we've had our first spat.
It's time to deal with Robin. He's decided to boil him in oil, but that requires a change of location. After they leave, someone quietly drops down from the skylight.
Oops.
It's no surprise that he was up there. We've seen that he can bat climb with the best of them. He revives Batman.
I don't understand how you managed to survive with no hair and for such a great length of time, sir.
I put myself in a trance, not unlike the Indian fakirs. It required extreme concentration. I was able to slow my heart and respiratory systems to a crawl.
When you do that, you can't move. So how'd he send the message?
Please, I beg of you. Next to Bruce Wayne, my father is probably the wealthiest man in Gotham City. He'll pay you anything if you'll just let me go.
She speaks with straight tongue, sire. John E. Carson has tons of the stuff.
She says, I'll do anything you want if you'll just call my father. She essentially nags him until he makes the call.
Hello? Hello, Dad? This is your future son-in-law.
What?
I'm sure you'll be happy to welcome me into your family. I come from good stock. My father was a king, grandfather before him, so am I.
Leaving out your larcenous lineage, what have you done with and or to my daughter?
I'm safe, Daddy.
Tut has been saying all along that no amount of money would be worth giving her up. But it turns out he does have his price.
And she'll remain safe for the paltry sum of $8,300,487.12, Queen's ransom.
Why such an uneven amount?
I need it to pay off the mortgage on the pyramids.
Who's he plan to pay it to?
The interest rate over 3,400 years is positively usurious.
Very well. As long as she's in no danger, no sum of money is too great. But what about arrangements? It'll take me a while to get that much cash.
You'll have to deal through an intermediary.
Mr. Carson comes up with a local radio host who has a call-in program. He arranges a code that he'll say on the radio when he has the money together. And for once in this show, somebody does the smart thing. As quick as Tut hangs up, Carson calls Commissioner Gordon. Isn't it nice that everybody in the city, from the mayor to the penguin, has a direct line to the police commissioner? Batman has his own issues. Alfred overheard Tut saying he was going to boil Robin in oil.
Drawing upon my vast storehouse of chemical knowledge, I am herein concocting an alchemist's fluid which will neutralize the boiling oil.
What exactly does it do, sir?
I'm not quite sure, Alfred. It's the first time I've ever tried this experiment.
His vast storehouse of chemical knowledge only tells him which chemicals to pour in, not what's supposed to happen when he does.
But I think, in the end, it should produce foam rubber.
Just then, Gordon calls.
First, Batman, will you be talking to Bruce Wayne?
I occasionally run into him, Commissioner. Why?
I'm worried about my daughter, Barbara.
How is she involved in all this?
She isn't. We're doing a little foreshadowing for season 3. Barbara Gordon is away at college and her dad is worried that something is going to happen to her like what happened to the professor. Really. He's worried that his daughter will take a flower pot to the head and turn into an ancient Egyptian ruler. I've been concerned sometimes when one of my daughters was away, but I can honestly say that's one danger that never kept me awake at night. Clearly, I'm a bad father. Gordon then tells Batman about the Jolly Jackson show and King Tut's arrangements around it. Batman calls the show, and unlike the top brass in the United States military, this guy questions his identity.
You know, you're the 8th person to call today claiming to be Batman. Used to be Napoleon, now it's Batman.
But I'm really Batman, and I have a message for King Tut.
King Tut? Listen, I'm no Egyptian phone jockey, bub.
Maybe not, but this is a matter of life and death.
Well, you all say the same thing.
Jackson is basically a Howard Stern precursor, and he seems to be the only person in the whole country with the good sense to say prove it when somebody calls in claiming to be Batman. Batman answers his questions, and Jackson puts him on the air.
This message is for King Tut only. I request all other citizens of Gotham City to comply with my wishes and shut their radios off for the next 30 seconds.
Of course, we get a montage of hands turning radios off, then we peek in on Tut.
Curse you, Batman!
Whatever Batman said, he's taking it very well. He says he has a response, so everybody has to turn their radios off again.
Tell that blue beanbag to bring the money to the Royal Oil boiling room in the abandoned boiler works in the old Boylston section of the city tonight. Alone. And you can also tell him to...
Oh, such language.
Yeah, we and every other 14-year-old in the country wanted to know what he said.
Any results, sir?
Yes, Alfred, just as you recalled, and I suspected, Tut's apparently holding the girl in the abandoned boiler works.
Holy steam valve. Sorry, sir. It just slipped out. It must be because Master Robin's uppermost in my thoughts at the moment.
Yeah, we'll go with that. At the old boiler factory in the Boylston district, or whatever he said, Tut is preparing his oil.
I think there's enough room in the vat for Batman, don't you?
About Batman, sire. I thought we'd rid ourselves of him once already this evening.
True. But the caped conniver seems to have a penchant for escaping from tight places.
You have no idea. You know that big coffee cup on that billboard downtown? Carson was only able to come up with $6 million in cash, so he's writing a check for the rest. Let's hope Tut's okay with that.
Batman, please promise you'll do everything in your power to bring her home safely. She's the only daughter I have, and I love her very dearly.
Just how dearly?
This ransom will break me, but I don't care.
Strange, I was under the impression that you were a multi-millionaire.
Everybody thinks so. But all I have in the world is now in your hands.
That's dearly all right. He really does care about his daughter.
I had hoped to arrange a match between Lisa and Bruce Wayne. The combination of our fortunes would put me back on top and give me room to manipulate.
Because marrying her off to the right guy can make him rich again. He loves her dearly, all right.
A marriage of convenience, eh?
It goes on all the time among the upper classes. Normally, I wouldn't think of Bruce Wayne as a husband for Lisa. Well, he's a nice enough fellow, but he's just not marriage material for a girl like Lisa. Actually, you're more her style.
Me?
Does Lisa get to say anything about this? Suppose she falls in love with the gardener or the guy who works at 7-Eleven. How did her love life come to be about you? Neila has been seething about this whole thing ever since Tut brought Lisa into the picture. As the oil reaches a strong boil, she decides she's had enough.
Listen, kid, you want out of here, right?
Of course I do. I know my father will send the ransom money, but I'm not so sure King Tut will release me.
Knowing what kind of think he is, I'm positive he'll grab you and the loot.
Remember, he thinks she's destined to be his queen. He's not likely to give her up.
You going to help us?
Frankly, Robin, I don't give a darn about you. But I want her out of here. King Tut may be fat, lazy, and extremely rude, but he's all I have.
It's true. Captain Kirk eventually left her for the green chick.
Seize him! Oh, misericordia. My queen is disloyal, the handmaiden is a traitor, and everybody's being mean to me.
Somebody needs a nap. He starts the countdown to boiling Robin.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0!
First things first.
Into the oil!
Guess what that's gonna do? And Batman's formula worked. And even though Tut is out cold, it's fight time. Another nice reversal. Batman gets into trouble and Robin has to save him. They wrap up the fight and release the ladies just as Tut starts to wake up.
The new curriculum includes a trip to the Archaeological Museum, young... Huh? Oh. Did I do it again?
He needs to have a steel skull cap grafted to his head. He says, I hope the regents will understand the problems of living with a criminal alter ego.
As a crazed criminal, Professor, your alter ego would have been dealt with justly, but firmly, for surely. No man is above the law, and no man is below it.
Even in context, I'm not sure what that means. In places like the Deep South, white people were above the law, especially when a black person was involved, and black people were below the law because the law, the process, and everything else was stacked against them. I don't know if this is supposed to be a message addressing things like that or what, but it fell flat and sounds sappy. And the worst part is, we're not done yet. In the epilogue, Bruce Wayne and Lisa Carson are finally finishing their dinner date.
Would you like to come in for a glass of milk and cookies?
Bruce explains that he's not husband material for her, so they probably shouldn't see each other again. We're at the end of the two-part story, and still nobody has asked her if she's husband shopping or just having fun.
Don't I get a goodbye kiss?
A kiss.
Yeah, it's where two people put their lips together and squish them around in weird ways.
Well, if you insist.
I do.
Poor Adam West. He had to kiss Lee Meriwether. Such a pity. Such a pity it wasn't me in his place.
Milk and cookies, did you say?
I made the cookies myself.
Man cannot live by crime fighting alone.
He must also have. So, Batman, you can make a formula to turn oil into foam rubber, but can you bake? We had a few familiar faces in this story, and it was fun to see Lee Meriwether, formerly the strong, independent Catwoman, come back as meek little daddy's girl whose only job is to find a rich husband so daddy can have his fortune again. Needless to say, she handled both perfectly. And if daddy knew that she was offering Bruce milk and cookies unchaperoned... I'm Irving, and I'm an Adamaniac.